Hello and welcome to TheAIbumMan, and today I'm going to be talking about Adrenaline Mob's new, EP called Dearly Departed. Now Adrenaline Mob, they're a band I've consistently followed the career of since their inception, reviewing basically everything they put out aside from their debut EP. Since 2012 I've been chronicling the band on this channel, with firstly their debut Omerta, which was the first album I believe that the ex-Dream Theater drummer Mike Portnoy put out after he left Dream Theater, and I actually defended the band with this album's release, praising it. Mike Portnoy and friends have delivered another cracking album, and this rivals his own Flying Colours album for Album of the Year. And in all fairness, I did enjoy it thoroughly at the time, but my musical tastes have changed and this album has waned, in my opinion. I don't think it's aged very well, but maybe that's just me. I don't really find myself returning to it, though I still do maintain their cover of Duran Duran's Come Undone featuring Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm is a brilliant version. Then in 2013 we had their covers EP Omerta. Adrenaline Mob will find some enjoyment in this. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's definitely an enjoyable covers album, and it's really the Lemon song and Break On Through that really make this a good EP. 2014 then had Mike Portnoy's departure on drums in favour of AJ Pero, and a second studio album, Men of Honor, which was wow. And this album, I have to say, I think is worse. This really is Nickelback disturbed, like paint-by-numbers rock. And yeah, even though Russell Allen is a talented guy and their guitarist Mike Orlando sure can play, they just never really seem to deliver on their promise. So what about Dearly Departed, their new covers EP? Is this set to be Album of the Year and surprises? Well, no, it's an Adrenaline Mob album. But do we find something at least worth enjoying? Well, we're going to go track by track on this one. Let's take a look. So we begin this possibly long and arduous journey. It's actually not that long, it's only an EP, but still, Snorting Whiskey. Now, aside from the obvious impracticalities of actually snorting whiskey, that would be rather painful. Snorting liquids, never a good idea, not something I'd recommend. This is certainly a song I would recommend, though, by the Travers band. And the greatest aspect of this song is that I discovered Travers, who I now will recommend to anyone who wants some heavy Canadian blues. Fantastic guitarist. I've just been loving the hell out of his stuff. So thank you, Adrenaline Mob, for introducing me to Travers. I was only mildly aware of him before that. So how do the Mob handle this song? Well, actually pretty damn well, to their credit. Well, it is a relatively faithful rendition, not skewing off the beaten track. It gives the guitar a crunchier, heavier sound, which is to be expected from Orlando. You have the tight metal beats of Pero, keeping things rather interesting. And yeah, Orlando does take the opportunity to solo all over this, and even if his constant use of Zakk Wylde like wide vibrato can be a little grating after a while, his playing still very accomplished and surprisingly nice fit, and also Russell Allen's voice, he delivers some powerful, soulful vocals that really complement it nicely. I can't say I really have much negative to say. It's a strong rendition of the track, and it's a promising start for the EP. Next is Dearly Departed, which sounds rather familiar. Dearly Departed is a pretty good song, actually. So what is different about this version? Well, it's a radio edit with 50 whole seconds less of song. I mean, geez guys, I don't know what I wanted more on this album than a radio edit of a song I've heard before, because of course we all know that fans love nothing more than a radio edit. Quite seriously, Adrenaline Mob, what the fuck were you thinking with this one? If I had to define the word filler in the Oxford English Dictionary, I would honestly put this version of this track on this album, because this sums it up to a T. Trying to sell the same old songs and an inferior version of the same old song. And there's one thing doing an extended version on one of these albums, but doing a cut version, who the hell wants to hear that awful, awful bottom of the barrel crap? Though it's not all bottom of the barrel crap, as actually the next song, again, it's pretty good. I can't say I expected Adrenaline Mob to cover The Devil Went Down from Georgia by the Charlie Daniels Band. This is a classic fiddle-based song, and obviously you're not going to find any fiddles here, but instead you have a roaring imitation of a fiddle by Michael Orlando on the guitars. He shreds incredibly the fiddle tune at the start of this song, and honestly, this is the best thing on the album easily. It's a very imaginative cover that significantly changes the song, yet also it stays true to the southern soul and spirit of the track. Orlando in particular, as I said, he knocks it out the park here. It's very well executed, and I'll be honest, it's not the most up my alley because I'm not a big fan of bluegrass and country. It's not a style I particularly enjoy, but I just have to give them praise for what they managed to do with this song. I think it's a very strong rendition, adds their own flair, yet still remains faithful. It's how a cover should be done. And then they go and do something stupid, like an acoustic version of a predominantly acoustic song called Crystal Clear, which I described in my review of Men of Honor. This is so bland it embodies the colour grey. This was a very easy choice for an acoustic song, since the original doesn't have an electric guitar until, well, it doesn't have an electric guitar. This is an acoustic version of an acoustic song. How wonderful, how breathtakingly visionary that is. What next? An acoustic version of Bob Dylan's Blowing in the Wind? Who knows? The only difference is the lack of electric bass and the addition of a second acoustic guitar, which really fails to add much to the song. This is the same Nickelback drivel of a song that it previously was, and just the original is slightly better, because well, at least the bass line was better and you could hear it. It was more noticeable, had more of an impact on the song. It was actually a half-decent bass line. This just so unnecessary. You've done two good covers here, two strong covers, and then you go and spoil it all with... I just don't know what's going on anymore, Adrenaline Mob. Let's move on. I was looking forward to the Black Sabbath medley, since medleys can actually be pretty cool, and Sabbath are damn amazing. I mean, it's Black Sabbath. So what do? They decide to cover Into the Void, Sound Bloody Sabbath, and Killing Yourself to Live. These are the main tracks featured in the medley. And I definitely respect their choice. I'm pleased they didn't choose to include, the obvious, just The Children of the Grave, Paranoid Iron Man, blah blah blah. I found this to be, quite well executed, like the other covers. It's a rather fun Sabbath tribute. I mean, it definitely feels very Adrenaline Mob, and, but still, they're not lazily rehashing the Sabbath tunes. They do add their own spin. I would say AJ Perez's drumming particularly dominant, though weirdly I do find Russell Allen's vocals to be the weakest element. Now, this is a rather personal preference, but I've never felt that Ozzy Osbourne Black Sabbath songs work that well with operatic vocal styles. I've said the same with Dio, and I'm the biggest Dio fanboy there is, but I've never particularly enjoyed his renditions of Black Sabbath songs, and Alan has that type of operatic voice. So my main gripe is just, that's certainly one of my main gripes. I do have another gripe with the song, and that's just another one I have with medley is overall, that I find that once you've heard it once or twice, the novelty kind of wears off and there's no real reason to listen to them again. I just don't find that the gimmick holds multiple listens all that well, if I'm going to be honest. Gets You Through the Night. This is an unreleased song from Men of Honor. How exciting, you know how much I love that album. Not much at all. To me, this is nothing special or that worth it, though I will say that if you did like Men in Honor, I think you're actually going to pretty much enjoy this track. It's rather standard fare for that album, and, well, even though it has to I'm going to say it again, the N-word's coming out, the Nickelback-esque commercial sheen with some riffs and Disturbed quite honestly sums up their standard sound quite well, I would say, and it has a catchy enough chorus. I have to say there's worse songs on Men of Honor they could have replaced this with, but if you didn't like Men of Honor, just skip the living hell out of this. Angel Sky, again like Crystal Clear, they take a predominantly acoustic song and make it more acoustic. I did actually like this rock ballad, I have to say. It had that classic rock ballad feel to it, like a late 80s, even like hair metal ballads, like something Cinderella might do, and I'm a sucker for those type of big, overblown ballads. And the thing with acoustic versions, let me just say this now, they're cool, when the song wasn't acoustic to begin with. That's when they have value and give you a different experience. Here's an example. On Guns N' Roses' Lies album, they have an acoustic version of the hard-hitting song from Appetite for Destruction, You're Crazy. Now that's brilliant because it's a very different take and a completely different vibe, and it really gives a whole new meaning to the song. This, though, is yet again filler, dialed in cash-in on previously released material. All on the line. Again, like Crystal Clear, they take a predominantly acoustic song and make it more acoustic. Now, I did like this rock ballad. Wait, I could have sworn I just said that for the song before, for Angel Sky. Well, yeah, that's because my thoughts on this song are the exact same as they were on Angel Sky. Aside from the fact the original of this had a bit less acoustic guitar to begin with, honestly, if you want to do orchestral versions or dramatically different arrangements, cool, go ahead. That would be worth listening to. Maybe a live version even could be interesting. This, no. No merit, no value. Pointless. Tie Your Mother Down, the classic Queen song when Queen were a proper hard rock band. It's one of my favourites from them. I mean, you have May's simple yet iconic riff, Freddie's lower, harder vocals, but here, I'm going to say it seems rather unmemorable. I mean, it's a difficult song to completely mess up because the riff is so damn addicting, but if I only knew this version, outside of Orlando's slide guitar solo, which was pretty cool, the rest is meh. This could just be the Queen fanboy in me saying, I don't want to hear anything Time Your Mother Down doesn't have Brian May or Freddie Mercury in it. But I still do believe this is the weakest cover of the lot. I find they fail to add anything all that original, particularly in the vocal department. I find Russell Allen's voice to just be on par. It doesn't do anything amazing. When you're covering Queen, you have to do something interesting to cover Queen, because obviously Freddie's voice was so magnificent, and here Russell Allen just delivers a so-so performance, which doesn't cut it for a song of this calibre. Would I recommend this EP? No. No, I wouldn't. If you really want to listen to it on Spotify, if you absolutely must. But even if you enjoyed Men of Honor, I don't think this has much value, and certainly don't buy the damn thing. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10, and the reason it's getting that high is simply because a few of the covers are really good covers, but there's so much worthless filler. Even if some of them are pretty good, it just doesn't cancel out how bad the egregious money-making filler is here. To recycle songs in a way that they did with Dearly Departed is just sick-making. Really annoys me, that type of thing. Just no creativity, no inspiration. Dearly Departed, yeah, dearly departing my ears. So after that, awful joke to end. This has been TheAIbumMan. Thanks for watching, comment, subscribe, and as usual, long live rock and roll.